Chapter 23-28. Throw it away like trash. Hearing the Golden King's words, not to mention the Silver King, even the Night Blade God Go Lang, who was standing behind him, twitched his mouth. How arrogant was he to treat a peerless treasure like trash? Perhaps only Dustless would be so bold. But thinking carefully about Dustless's style of doing things, he fell silent. According to Dustless's temperament, it was very likely that he would do so. The Drexton stone plate that gave the king his power. To Dustless, it might really be just trash. Besides, the Golden King's tone paused slightly, and he did not hide anything. After all, the Silver King was on his side. That guy is too mysterious. I can't trust him. Besides, he's not the king. Maybe you don't know, but the Drexton stone plate is the only thing that limits him. If this thing falls into his hands, that guy will really be lawless in the future. He won't put anyone in his eyes anymore. Our days will be even more difficult, the Golden King said cautiously. There was a great deal of fear in his words. The only bargaining chip to limit him. Hearing this, the Silver King's eyelids twitched. He immediately understood what the Golden King meant. The power of an outsider and a king came from the Drexton stone plate. If the Drexton stone plate was destroyed one day, then Dustless's power would definitely disappear. I see. The Silver King suddenly understood. He immediately took a deep breath and said, "If that's the case, then leave the Drexton stone plate to me for safekeeping. I'll do my best." Adolph K. Weitzman was also wary of Dustless. Not only was this guy evil and powerful, but perhaps, as the Golden King said, the Drexton stone plate was the only thing that could restrain him. The power that destroyed everyone would disappear, and Dustless would become immortal. If this guy was handed over to Dustless, then he would have no worries and would be even more unscrupulous in the future. Of course, if Dustless himself heard this, he would definitely laugh at the Silver King and the Golden King. When did I admit that I was a king or an outsider? My power did not come from that stupid stone plate at all. My lord, the King of Blue is here to visit. Just as the Gold King and the Silver King were chatting happily, someone suddenly reported the arrival of the Ancestral Rites Division. Both of them frowned at the same time. The fall of the King of Red, as well as the change in temperament of the King of Blue, had all become turbulent elements. Now, at such a sensitive time, the sudden arrival of the ancestral statue rites was truly puzzling. No one could figure out what this fellow was up to. What should we do? The Silver King frowned. We can't just turn them away, can we? Zhong Xiang, that fellow, the Golden King's eyes flickered and his right eyelid kept twitching. Recently, he had been feeling uneasy, as if something bad was about to happen. His eyelid kept twitching and he was very irritated. I can't refuse, and I also want to ask him what he thinks. If he's willing to stay true to himself, I don't mind giving him the Drexton stone plate for safekeeping. The Golden King said in a deep voice, "Weitzman, leave with your allies first. I'll meet with the Ancestral Statue Ritual Division alone. Something big must have happened for you to come at this time, all right." Without further ado, the Silver King turned and left with the Night Blade God Galang. "Your Majesty." The Ancestral Statue Ritual Division came before the Golden King and bowed respectfully. He was still rather respectful to this old man who was over 70 years old. Ancestral Statue. The Golden King also carefully examined the Ancestral Statue Ritual Division. The moment he raised his head, the Golden King's old eyes twitched violently. He almost did not recognize the Ancestral Statue Ritual Division. Looking as far as he could, he saw that the black hair on both sides of the Ancestral Statue Ritual Division's temples had turned white. His face was also sunken, pale and powerless. His eyes were bright red, and a terrifying light flashed in them from time to time. He gave off the feeling that he was possessed by some unknown monster. Compared to the handsome and confident ancestral statue ritual division of the past, the current him seemed to have his soul and blood sucked out, leaving only his body. It seems that you have undergone a lot of changes during this period of time. The Golden King said flatly. His intention to hand the Drexton stone plate over to the ancestral statue ritual division for safekeeping had been thrown out of the window. The ancestral statue ritual division in front of him had changed completely. His body and soul had completely changed. He was no longer the king of blue he knew. Ancestral statue, although these words are a little far-fetched, you should be more open-minded about some things. The dead cannot be brought back to life. My condolences. The Golden King advised from the standpoint of an elder. After all, they were all kings. He did not want to see the ancestral statue ritual division sink. In the future, the safety of this country still required people like the ancestral statue ritual division to take the place of the fallen. Your Majesty, however, the ancestral statue ritual division remained indifferent. His eyes were motionless. Obviously, he did not listen to the Golden King's words. To be honest, I am here to borrow something from you. The ancestral statue ritual division suddenly looked at the Golden King with a burning gaze. His eyes were fervent and a little greedy. Just say it. The Golden King said generously. Other than the Drexton stone plate, he did not care about anything else. It's not a difficult matter. I just hope that you can lend me the Drexton stone plate. The ancestral statue ritual division answered calmly. His arrogant tone was condescending, as if no one could be compared to him other than those in his camp. P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 comments plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. Chapter 23:31. Could it be? Yu Shao Shenxi's expression changed. No wonder the Green King was so wary of Dustless. If she guessed correctly, that crack wasn't Dustless's arm breaking. It was Wuju Hisashi's staff that was too fragile. It was like throwing an egg at a rock when it smashed into Dustless's body. What kind of ability does this guy have? His body is ridiculously tough. I'm afraid that normal swords won't be able to pierce through his skin. What an unbelievable monster. Yu Shao Shenxi muttered to herself. She looked at Dustless cautiously. She understood Wuju Hisashi's strength. Although he wasn't as strong as her, he was still a member of the Green Clan. His strength was extraordinary. But it was such a person who was unscathed when a bunch of them hit Wuchen's shoulder. Instead, Wuju Hisashi's club was broken. How tough is his skin? Is he still human? Looks like I've underestimated you. But don't think that victory is in your hands. I wasn't serious just now. Don't get too cocky. Wuju Hisashi looked at Dustless with hostility. His eyes flickered like a venomous snake. No one dared to look him in the eye. At the same time, the weapon in his hand changed. A large amount of emerald light erupted. The staff in Wuju Hisashi's hand also changed. In the blink of an eye, it became a dangerous scythe. Do you still want to fight? Dustless frowned. He didn't want to fight with Wuju Hisashi because he saw him as a child. Who would have thought that this kid was so arrogant that he didn't realize the difference in strength between them? Back off. Seeing Dustless's gaze turn cold, like a blade that could pierce the soul, let alone Godric Kuna, even Yu Shao Shenxi felt her scalp go numb. She couldn't help but feel fear. Just like what the Green King said to Water Flow, Dustless wasn't a king, but he was as strong as a king, or even stronger. Back off. What kind of joke is this? Trash like him, if I get serious, I'll be able to finish him off in 2 or 3 moves. Sujio Wuju, who still hadn't figured out the difference between them, was still groaning. He didn't even care about Yu Shao Shenxi's warning. Even now, He still thought that his staff was broken because he bought a fake. You idiot! Hearing this, Yu Shaoxunzi was speechless. She couldn't help but agree with Dustless's words. A child was a child. Even if this child had some strength, in the end, he was still a brat who hadn't grown out his hair. Did he not realize that Dustless did not even look at him from the beginning to the end? I don't want to repeat myself. She glanced at Wuju Hizuna and said coldly, "Little demon, I hope you don't force me to do it myself." Hearing this, Hizana Gojo was completely dumbfounded. He looked at Yu Shaoxunzi in astonishment. She wanted to start a war with him over an enemy. Was there something wrong with her head? He could understand if Dustless said those words, but wasn't Yu Shaoxunzi one of his own? Why would she betray her own teammate at this time? However, Hizana Gojo remained silent and tactfully kept his weapon. Of course, he wasn't giving face to Dustless, this newbie, but to Yu Shaoxunzi. Finally, there's someone who knows what's good for them. In the future, when you go out, remember not to bring this idiotic brat out. It will lower your IQ and taste. Do you understand? Wu Qin lectured Yu Shaoxunzi with the tone of an elder. Wuju Hisashi almost went berserk when he heard this. Good, good, good. You've got guts. Go ahead and be happy for me. When you're no longer useful, I'll let you know what terror is. Yuji Gojo's eyes were bloodshot as he stared at Wu Qin with bloodshot eyes. He couldn't wait to swallow this brat alive. Too despicable. He's still young and doesn't know any better. Please forgive him. Yu Shaoxunzi smiled embarrassedly. Her words made Hizana Gojo speechless. Those words were full of flattery. How can this brat? Looking at Dustless, Hizana Gojo was spitting fire with jealousy. Let's stop chatting and talk about your intentions. Don't waste my time. Dustless waved his hand impatiently. Where did this brat's bullshit come from? If I go back late, Dustless's dish will be eaten by the cat again. Our intentions are simple. We hope to join forces with you. Yu Shaoxunzi didn't hide it and said according to the Green King's order. When the time comes, our king, the Green King, by Shui Lu, and you will become existences like the Gold King. In other words, you'll dominate this country. Dustless frowned and muttered to himself. I remember the Green King's goal was to release the power of the Drexten stone plate to promote human evolution. Why did it change? Do you agree? Yu Shaoxunzi didn't care about what Dustless was mumbling. She looked at Dustless expectantly. She also looked forward to Bai Shuelio's ideal world. So you want to join forces? Dustless wasn't surprised and just nodded. You agree? Yu Shaoxunzi smiled, thinking that Dustless had agreed. After all, the Green King's strength was unquestionable. When he was young, he challenged the Gold King. Although he lost, his strength was almost on par with the Gold King. It was understandable that he agreed. However, before Yu Shaoxunzi could be happy, Dustless slapped her in the face. Join forces with me. That Green King, do you think he's worthy? P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 comments plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. Chapter 2332. Join forces with me. Is that Green King worthy? Yu Shaoxunzi and Kojio Hisa were stunned. They stood there in a daze, their minds short-circuiting. The Green King's strength was undeniable. Although he failed to challenge the Golden King, his battle prowess was on the same level as the Golden King. Even the Colorless King was his chess piece. Even the kings like Zhou Fangzuan and Zhong Xiang were his playthings. However, Dustless dared to say that the Green King wasn't worthy of joining forces with him. He was looking down on him. This was no longer a matter of respect or disrespect. Dustless despised the Green King from the bottom of his heart. He was completely disdainful. My ears aren't good. Repeat what you said just now. Kogyo Hisa looked at Dustless with a red face. The scythe appeared in his hand again. It was full of threat. Ears aren't good. Dustless was stunned. Pity covered his face. Sigh. You're already disabled at such a young age. Looks like the Green King must have abused you. Poor thing, he made you disabled. TSK. But you too. Why did you come out when you're disabled? It's not easy to live. You. Hearing this, Kogyo Hisashi's face turned red. He roared madly, don't stop me. I'm going to be torn to pieces by this bastard. Too infuriating, too infuriating. Kogyo Hisa almost vomited blood when he thought about how Kogyo Hisa called himself disabled. Brat, you're not only disabled, but also mentally retarded. Didn't you say that your ears aren't good? Wu Qin said innocently. Even Yu Shao Shensi thought that Wu Qin was asking for a beating, not to mention Hisa Gojo. His mouth was really asking for a beating. Go to hell. Kogyo Hisa leaped forward with his scythe, aiming at Dustless's head. He wanted to kill him directly. Come back quickly, you're no match for that guy. Seeing this, Yu Shao Shensi was greatly alarmed and hurriedly grabbed over. He could clearly feel the hidden killing intent in Dustless's eyes. Dustless was definitely not a good person. Previously, the Green King had been secretly observing Dustless. In the end, he came to a shocking conclusion: Dustless was stronger than all the other kings. It sounded inconceivable. He wasn't a king, but his strength surpassed the 7 kings. But that was the truth. Even the Golden King didn't dare to act rashly in front of Wu Qin, let alone a small character like Su Jojo. Su Jojo was just a kid who didn't even have his hair fully grown yet. As such, Green King Bai Shui had secretly instructed Yu Shao Shensi that even if they couldn't become allies with Dustless, they couldn't become enemies either. But now, Su Jiu was provoking Dustless so many times. Wasn't this ruining the Green King's plan? Die! The scythe slashed towards Dustless, and the fatal edge was about to cut his neck. Scared silly, huh? Not moving at all. Kogyo Hisa sneered. How could someone like him be worthy of joining hands? Chapter 23-34. Yu Shao Shensi met Dustless's gaze and found that his previously calm eyes had changed in an instant. They were as deep as a bottomless black hole, ready to devour her if she wasn't careful. She hurriedly averted her gaze. Bastard, bastard, bastard. At the same time, Haruna Gojio's face was also trampled into the ground by Dustless. He was in a very sorry state. His entire face was buried in the ground, with cracks appearing and mixed with blood. His face was completely worn out. You still don't realize the difference between us now. Dustless shook his head and sighed. Young people nowadays are so impetuous, starting a fight at the slightest disagreement. Can't they learn from the Golden King? That old man's ability to read people's expressions is clear and logical, and he's very respectful to me. My lord, Yu Shao Shensi's manner of address had changed. She said respectfully, My lord, you're a great person who doesn't hold a grudge against a lowly person. In any case, you're still an existence comparable to a king. Why lower yourself to the level of a child who hasn't even grown hair yet? You're right, but I can't just stand by and watch someone provoke me, can I? Dustless calmly retorted. And you don't need to flatter me. It's impossible to restrain me with ethics and morals. Sometimes, I just like to bully the weak. Can't I do that? To put it more bluntly, I like to be shameless. What do you think? Yu Shao Shensi's lips trembled, and she couldn't think of a reply. Dustless's words were too bold. Oh, I'll kill you, I'll definitely kill you. Fujio Hizuna roared crazily under Dustless's foot. He wanted nothing more than to tear Dustless to shreds to vent his anger. This was the first time in his life that he had experienced such humiliation. His self-esteem was shattered into countless pieces. Even now, you still want to kill me. Don't you know the difference between us? Dustless was speechless. Didn't this kid know that there were some people he couldn't afford to offend? I'll let you catch your breath first. Don't suffocate to death. Suddenly, Wu-chan loosened his right foot. Sensing that the mountain above his head had disappeared, Hizuna Gojio quickly pulled his head out from the ground and panted. Needless to say, he felt really uncomfortable holding his breath. He felt like he was suffocating. TSK. How scary. Wu-chan mischievously took a step back and clicked his tongue in fear. He raised his head and saw that Wujo's Hisashi's face was covered in blood. The skin on his face had disappeared and there was blood everywhere. But didn't I say it before? Who allowed you to stand up? Immediately after, Wu-chan shouted and his body turned into light. A large amount of light gathered on top of Wujo Kuna's head, so bright that he couldn't open his eyes. Hurry up and leave. Sujio is there. Realizing that something was wrong, he quickly shouted. Su Kujio was dumbfounded. He didn't know what was going on, but he still left obediently. However, it was too late. He was too slow. Brat, is your speed faster than light? Boom boom boom. The unparalleled golden light smashed down heavily, causing Hizuna Gojio's entire body to explode. A huge ball of fire surged out, and the scorching temperature could even melt steel. Damn it, a moment later, Hisa Gojio lay in the charred pit in a sorry state. His face was unrecognizable, and his whole body was burned. He only had one breath left to breathe. You! Seeing this, Yushao Shensi was enraged. She raised the katana in her hand and was about to attack Dustless when her phone rang. TSK. Why do you have to do this? You could have left safely. Now that you've fallen to such a state, you can only blame yourself, little brat. Wu-chan didn't show any mercy. He continued to step on Su Kuna's head like a giant mountain. Su Kuna couldn't escape from the pressure. Kill me if you have the guts. Hizuna Gojio was still stubborn. His eyes were scarlet, and blood was flowing out of his face. It was a horrifying scene. Shut up, idiot. At this moment, Yushao Shensi walked over with a black face. She suddenly threw the phone to Hizuna Gojio. It's a call from that person. Explain it yourself. That person. Dustless was stunned. If he guessed correctly, it was the mysterious Green King, by Shui Lu. Hizuna Gojio's face changed slightly. He used his last bit of strength to pick up the phone and put it to his ear. The Green King, by Shuelio's call came through. I know. After a few seconds, Hizuna Gojio said unwillingly. The final struggle in his eyes disappeared. That, Hizuna Gojio looked at Dustless and said with an ugly expression, My lord, I was blind. I won't dare to offend you again. Please forgive me. The Green King's orders are still useful. Dustless retracted his right foot and looked at Yushao Shensi indifferently. He then put his hands in his pockets and left. Take your people and scram. If you dare to cause trouble here again, the Green Clan won't be spared. It was a simple sentence, but it was filled with killing intent. Yushao Shensi's neck shrunk. It was ridiculous, but because of Dustless's words, he felt great fear. He said with a trembling voice, Sorry for disturbing you. Goodbye. Yushao Shensi hugged Hizuna Gojio and left in a hurry. Hizuna Gojio was already crippled. If it wasn't for Dustless showing mercy, he would have been burnt to a crisp. P.S. 3000 flowers plus updates. 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 reviews plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. Why aren't you interested? Ming Anna looked at Dustless with a suspicious look. Me? Hearing this, Dustless just smiled casually and said indifferently, "Sorry, I'm really sorry. I have too many treasures, and I don't have a place to put that broken plate." Pfft. Pfft. The cat and Ming Anna both spat. Fortunately, Dustless was a shining person, otherwise he would have become a person of saliva. A broken plate. You'd better not say such things in the future. Otherwise, people will definitely think you're an idiot. Ming Anna said snappily. That is the source of the king's power. You said it was a broken plate. Oh my god, this is the truth, okay? Dustless said seriously. What was there to care about a broken stone plate? Even the naive cat was provoked. The thing that everyone was fighting over was considered a piece of junk by Dustless, as if it was worthless trash. However, if it's possible, I hope Bai Shuelu can get the Drexton stone plate. At least it's better than the Silver King, Adolf K. Weitzman. Dustless narrowed his eyes with a different meaning. Why? Both of them asked at the same time with a strange expression. Dustless had beaten up the Green King's men before. Some things can't be explained clearly. Dustless said slowly, in short, if I have no choice, I will snatch the Drexton stone plate. If that thing is destroyed, you will also be affected. The cat was an outsider, and Ming Anna was later the Red King. Why? The cat asked in confusion. You really don't know anything. Dustless ridiculed, including your power. It comes from the Drexton stone plate. If that thing disappears, do you think your power will still exist? To be honest, I am a little scared. The cat liked to run around naked. If her power disappeared and she ran around naked, what would happen if someone saw her? But what does it have to do with me? Ming Anna was at a loss with endless confusion. Buddha said it can't be said. Dustless said mysteriously and simply closed his eyes. Some things couldn't be explained clearly because after the Red King, Zhou Fangzuan, died, Ming Anna became the new Red King. However, Ming Anna wouldn't believe it even if he told her now. She might think that Dustless was talking crazy. P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 comments plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. Chapter 23:37. Who do you think you are? When these words fell into the ears of the ancestral right division, it was as if 5 bolts of lightning had struck him. His head was buzzing. Dustless's attack had left him charred on the outside and tender on the inside. The suppressed flames in his heart were soaring, and the veins on his forehead were throbbing. Hand over the Drexton stone plate. If you refuse, there is only one outcome, and that is death. There is no deal, you don't have the qualifications. Dustless was too lazy to talk nonsense, and directly gave the ultimatum. At the same time, he secretly glanced at the huge stone plate behind the ancestral right division, which was still emitting light. In your dreams. As if he was really angered by Dustless, the ancestral right division angrily refused. As long as I destroy this thing, what will you use to show off? At that time, your power will also disappear. At most, we will fight to the death. What does it have to do with me? Dustless very impolitely snorted, and said disdainfully, unless, you think my power also comes from this broken thing? Is it not? Silver King Adolf K. Weitzman frowned at Dustless. This guy's power was unimaginably strong. How could a human have such a powerful ability? It must be from the Drexton stone plate. Don't be so full of yourself. My power is so great that you can't imagine it. A mere broken stone plate can't give me that much power. Dustless's mouth was full of contempt, and he snorted at the Drexten stone plate. He only stole this thing for the cat and Sinming Anna. Your mouth is full of bullshit, and your words don't match. The Ancestral Right Division sneered at Dustless. Since your power doesn't come from the Drexten stone plate, why are you stealing it? What does it have to do with you? Dustless looked at the Ancestral Right Division contemptuously, and said sarcastically, You are just a loser, and you have the qualifications to question me. Scram to the side. Take this. Seeing stars from Dustless's words, the Ancestral Statue Rights Division was truly enraged. He raised his hand and sent out an unstoppable slash, a dark blue light surging towards Dustless. Do it. It was also at this moment that the Silver King suddenly glanced at the Night Blade God Galang. The latter nodded in acknowledgement and quietly slipped behind the Ancestral Right Division. His target was the Drexten stone plate. Dustless put his hands in his pockets and looked at the incoming light without moving. Finally, he lazily lifted one of his feet and the destructive golden light suddenly flickered. Lightspeed kick. A thick beam of light swept out, giving people a feeling of invincibility. Not to mention facing it head-on, just the degree of its brightness was dazzling to the eyes. It was as if one would be blinded if they looked at it for too long. Boom boom boom. The two powerful techniques collided and exploded. Chapter 2338. Oh my God. Who is this guy? Is the King of Blue so weak? Night Sword God Galang was dumbfounded. Such terrifying combat power was simply a disaster for a king. Who else could stop this man who was comparable to a god? 10,000 heavenly attraction. Dustless's expression remained unchanged. His right hand was looking at the Drexten stone plate. A large amount of gravity erupted, and the huge stone plate underground was instantly sucked over. Don't even think about taking the Drexten stone plate away. Suddenly feeling his right foot being grabbed, Dustless frowned. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. He turned his head and said coldly, Ancestral Statue Ritual Officer. You're already in this state, and you still want to go against me. Not to mention his body, even the bones of the Ancestral Statue Ritual Officer had been shattered by the black coffin. Even so, his bloody right arm was still grabbing onto Dustless's foot. The thought of perishing together with Dustless did not disappear in his eyes. Instead, he became even more determined. Dustless did not speak. He only looked down at him quietly. He coldly raised his left foot and aimed it at the Ancestral Statue Ritual Officer's head. I wanted to leave you with a complete corpse, but it seems like you don't want to. The moment he finished speaking, Dustless's foot stepped on the Ancestral Statue Ritual Officer's head. There was a bright flash. This stomp was enough to destroy the corpse and destroy all traces. Bang! Just as the Ancestral Statue Ritual Officer's head was about to be crushed, a golden figure attacked. His foot was blocked by a long sword. Dustless raised his eyebrows and looked up. The big guy in front of him was even taller than him. Golden King, the person who suddenly stopped Dustless from killing was the Golden King. You're already so old. Why are you still here? Go back and enjoy your old age. Dustless didn't buy it. He just took another look at the Golden King and increased the strength of the big foot that was stopped by him. Bang! The long sword that blocked Dustless's foot suddenly exploded into pieces. In the end, due to the terrifying temperature, it melted into molten iron. Boom boom boom. The flashing foot hit Ancestral Statue Rights Master with full force, causing his body to explode. Under everyone's gaze, Ancestral Statue Rights Master's flesh and blood instantly evaporated, turning into black charcoal. The exposed skeleton was also melting at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few seconds, the Ancestral Right Division had been destroyed, and the all-powerful King of Blue had fallen. You! Hearing this, the Golden King's eyes flashed with anger. He said furiously, "Aren't you going too far?" He actually killed him. Although Zhongxiang is guilty, he doesn't deserve death. Do not deserve death. Hearing this, Dustless smiled. His smile was so bright and so evil. "Let me tell you, if you offend me, it's not a big or small crime. You just have to die. Let alone a mere king, even the so-called gods are no exception." After these words, the Night Blade God Go Lang and the Silver King Adolf K. Weitzman's expression changed drastically. This was equivalent to slapping the Golden King's face, not giving him any face at all. "Do you really want to fight to the death?" The Golden King's face was ashen, and his breathing quickened. "You're old. Go back and enjoy your remaining years. Slowly wait for your death." Dustless replied calmly. "The Drexten stone plate is mine. Don't think of snatching it from me. You don't want to become the next ancestral statue rights master, right? This guy is too arrogant." The Silver King Adolf K. Weitzman looked at Dustless solemnly. This guy did not take the Golden King seriously at all. From the beginning to the end, he did not even put the Golden King in his eyes. "Then let me see what you're capable of." The Golden King couldn't take it anymore, and the strongest volcano erupted. The void was suddenly filled with golden light, and a resplendent golden sword inlaid with various gems appeared. It was the Golden King's sword of Damocles. This old man's life is really tough. Looking at the big sword in the sky, Dustless was slightly stunned. He was not surprised by the Golden King's combat power, but the sword of Damocles usually represented the state of the king. Now, the Golden King's sword of Damocles was like a divine sword that could split heaven and earth. How did it look like he was about to die? Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At the same time, a golden blast came head-on, crushing everything and rolling up a large amount of sand and dust. "That's pretty fast," Dustless muttered. It was at this moment that the Golden King suddenly swept past his body. Instead of launching an attack, he directly took the Drexten stone plate and retreated. "Old man." Dustless laughed sinisterly. His left eye revealed a dark red evil eye. The Rinnegan Sharingan erupted with surging eye power, locking on to the Golden King. This thing can't be taken away by Dustless no matter what. On the other side, the Golden King, who had obtained the Drexten stone plate, stroked the rough texture of the Drexten stone plate with trembling old hands, a firm look on his face. "Dustless, give up. This old man would rather die than." "Where is he?" Looking up, the Golden King was stunned. Where did Dustless go? Heavenly hand power. A cold voice suddenly sounded in the void, and then the Golden King felt a chill on his back. Just as he was about to turn his head, the Silver King shouted anxiously. "Lieutenant, behind you, Dustless is behind you." Adolf K. Weitzman shouted. He was also shocked. Dustless was standing behind the Golden King. He did not notice how he appeared. It was as if he came out of space, and no one could detect it. "What?" The Golden King was shocked and quickly turned to leave. With every step Kansusanu took, the earth would shake slightly, and the ground would be covered with cracks. Such a horrifying scene made the Silver King's scalp tingle. In his life, this was the first time he had the thought of running for his life. P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 comments plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. Chapter 2340. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Strong winds rose from all directions, and sand and stones were also swept up in it, sweeping across the entire battlefield, but they didn't dare to approach the full-body Susanoo, as if it was a moving danger zone, and even if the wind didn't have a physical body, it would still be destroyed. In front of Ken Susanoo, nothing was an exception. Even matter without life would not be able to escape the fate of destruction. Baw baw baw. The wind and sand were too violent. The Silver King and Night Blade God Go Lang's mouths were full of sand. What should we do? Night Blade God Go Lang came to the Silver King's side and looked at the complete Kansusanu. His heart was about to jump out of his chest. His handsome face was pale and powerless. Was this something a human could deal with? Even if he was using cheats, he should know when to stop. Run. After a long silence, this was the only plan the Silver King could come up with. But we can't run forever, right? Night Blade God Go Lang said gloomily. Following the Silver King did not mean that he could live like an emperor, but he could not be a fugitive every day. Hearing this, the Silver King hesitated. Night Blade God Go Lang's words made sense. No matter what, they could not hide like rats. It would be better to just die. No matter what, this is a matter for the future. The task now is to take away the Drexten stone plate. The Silver King's meaning was clear. He wanted to take away the Drexten stone plate. You still have such unrealistic thoughts. Forgive me for being blunt, but the two of you, are your brains not damaged by the door? Dustless's cold voice came from the sky. He said sarcastically, in front of the complete Kansusanu, you think you can escape? Indeed, the ignorant are fearless. Do you know how many people have been killed by this move? Do you know how many strong people above the king-level Kansusanu, and even gods, have been killed? In the past, do you know how many people have been trampled by the complete Kansusanu? Scoundrels, don't be too proud. It's dangerous. Dustless's words made the faces of the Silver King and Go Lang extremely gloomy. Whether it was bragging or the truth, the complete Kansusanu was not something they could deal with. Take Drexten's stone plate and leave. I'll hold him off for now. The Silver King, Adolf K. Weitzman, said loudly. His tone carried a trace of determination, giving off the feeling that he was going to perish together with his opponent. When Go Lang heard this, he was stunned for a moment before a warm current flowed through his heart. He was extremely touched. But what? No buts. I am the king, you must obey my orders. Don't forget that I am immortal. The Silver King scolded. There was a sense of freedom in his words as if he had seen through life and death. He was immortal and indestructible, so what was there to be afraid of? Even if it was destroyed by Dustless, it could still be brought back to life. Yi Dao Shingo didn't say anything. He unsheathed his katana from his waist and used his actions to convey his message. He looked at the complete form Kansusanu fearlessly. You won't regret it. The Silver King had mixed feelings, but his heart was also extremely touched. Of course. Yi Dao Shingo nodded seriously. There was an unprecedented calmness on his face. He unsheathed his katana and held it tightly with both hands. He looked at the approaching complete form Kansusanu with a stern gaze. Even if I die, as long as I can stop this guy's footsteps, swoosh swoosh swoosh. Before Yi Dao Shingo's voice fell, a terrifying wave of energy came from the front. The ground was as fragile as a piece of paper and was torn apart by an invincible gust of wind. Go away. The Silver King hurriedly reminded him. He anxiously urged Yi Dao Shingo, but he was still a step too late. The gust of wind from the complete form Kansusanu instantly swallowed Yi Dao Shingo. Kacha! His entire body collapsed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Nothing was left behind except for a pool of dazzling blood on the ground. Seeing this scene, the Silver King suddenly collapsed. His eyes stared blankly. For a moment, he was at a loss. His eyes were empty, as if his soul had been taken away. Adolf K. Weitzman, you don't have to feel ashamed. Don't worry, you will soon face the same fate as him. Dustless said coldly. The sky above the Silver King's head turned completely golden. Looking up, it was the complete form Kansusanu's big foot that landed on his head. As long as it landed, Izona's society would be turned into meat paste. Farewell. After taking a few more glances at the Silver King, Dustless closed his eyes. Under the control of his mind, the complete form Kansusanu's big foot landed. Bang! Izona's society's body suddenly burst and turned into a pool of crimson blood. After that, Dustless also removed the complete form Kansusanu and landed safely on the ground. He stared at the broken battlefield around him and shook his head slightly. I'm afraid this country will be completely in turmoil in the future. Stay away from me in the future. Picking up the Drexten stone plate, Dustless left without any reluctance. Only his words of "stay away from me in the future" lingered in the void. The Silver King was temporarily dead, but it was only temporary. It wouldn't be long before he would be resurrected again. The Silver King's ability was immortality and gravity-free floating realm. Although Dustless's complete form Kansusanu had crushed his body, according to Dustless's analysis, it wouldn't be long before he would heal and be resurrected again. Stay away from me in the future. This sentence was meant for the Silver King. As for whether he would take it seriously, only God knew. P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 rating plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. Chapter 2341. Many people must have noticed the huge traces of battle, especially the Green King's subordinates. Yushao Shensi and Su Hisu Gojo had witnessed Kansusanu's destruction with their own eyes. You are my benefactor. Su Hisu Gojo and Yushao Shensi stood together and observed. Especially after seeing Kansusanu's strength, Su Hisu Gojo's heart turned cold. When he provoked Dustless, it was fortunate that Yushao Shensi stopped him. Otherwise, he would have been trampled to death. You don't have to be polite. After all, we are on the same side. Yushao Shensi shook her head indifferently. Her own junior brother was trampled to death by Dustless. This was a little. This guy took the Drexten stone plate away. How are we going to snatch it? Su Hisu Gojo's pupils trembled. Fear could be seen clearly in his eyes. Why? Are you afraid? Yushao Shensi teased. To be able to make this fearless brat afraid, it was enough to show how powerful Dustless was. I was blind in the past. Su Hisu Gojo shook his head and sighed. The arrogant look he had when facing Dustless was nowhere to be found. However, this is indeed a big problem. Yushao Shensi narrowed her eyes and looked at Dustless's back. Even she felt powerless. The Green King probably had the same thoughts as Shui. We can't let him take the Drexten stone plate away. I want to see the birth of a new world with my own eyes. Yushao Shensi didn't know where the courage came from, but her eyes instantly turned cold. Although Dustless was strong, it didn't mean that they would give up. You can't be thinking of ambushing him, right? Hizuna Gojio's eyes trembled fiercely. Ever since he witnessed Dustless's powerful strength, he no longer had the heart to resist. The two of them were not in the same dimension. It was like the difference between an ant and an elephant. That's not it. Let's go back and inform the Green King. Withdrawing his unwilling gaze, Yushao Shensi turned and left. With their strength, provoking Dustless was the same as jumping off a building. He wasn't that stupid. Did he leave? Dustless suddenly stopped in his tracks. Yushao Shenzi and Wuju Suzhou's actions naturally couldn't escape his eyes. At least you know what's good for you. Dustless only snorted coldly. He didn't stay any longer and continued to drag the Drexten stone plate away. As soon as he returned home, Dustless discovered that the villa that he had bought with his own money had been destroyed. Half of it had turned into ruins, and many of the furnishings had disappeared. It seemed that a thief had entered. He could even hear the kittens chirping. "Anna, hurry up." The cat urged Anna to pack her things. Her pair of shifty eyes swept through the surrounding things, as if saying that she couldn't let go of anything valuable. "You! What are you doing?" The sudden voice startled Anna and the cat. They turned their heads and looked at Dustless in shock. Then, a joyful smile appeared on their faces. "You're back. That's great. We thought you would never come back." The cat hugged Dustless excitedly and buried his head in her cleavage. "Are you cursing me to die with your crow's beak?" Dustless pushed the cat away and rolled his eyes. After looking around, the house was a mess. It was full of dust, and many places had turned into ruins. It was probably caused by the battle between Dustless, the Golden King, the Green King, and the Silver King. When the gods fought, the mortals suffered. Many places were affected. Even though Dustless had deliberately suppressed the power of the complete Consusanu, the city was still paralyzed in the end. You didn't see the giant that was hundreds of meters tall. Let me tell you, it was amazing. With a light step, the appearance of the city changed. The cat's expression was full of fear. The invincible figure of the complete Consusanu appeared in her eyes. Hearing that, Dustless smiled and nodded slightly. "There's no need to move. Those kings are dead. You can rest easy from now on. Isn't it too dangerous to continue staying here? That giant just now was too invincible. What if the person controlling it had bad eyesight and trampled us to death?" Anna said with lingering fear. "Ha ha ha ha. Why didn't I realize you were so humorous before? Don't worry about that. The person controlling the giant didn't have bad eyesight." Dustless couldn't help but laugh. For the first time, he found Anna, a tsundra loli, to be cute. "Right, you said that the King of Blue and the King of Gold are dead." Anna looked at Dustless in surprise. Seeing the Drexten stone plate outside, she suddenly understood something. Not just the two of them. "The King of Silver has also been temporarily destroyed by me," Dustless said casually. But such a simple sentence caused a 10-magnitude earthquake in the hearts of Anna and the cat. The King of Gold, the King of Silver, and the King of Blue were all finished. Didn't that mean that this time, Dustless had destroyed 3 kings alive? That was too much of a monster. "The King of Silver is immortal," Dustless then added, "destroying him is only temporary. It won't be long before that guy comes back to life again." Unless the Drexten stone plate was destroyed, the King of Silver was immortal and indestructible. It had to be said that the King of Silver's combat power was not worth mentioning. But in terms of ability, he was definitely the most heaven-defying. Immortal and indestructible youth and eternal life. How many people dreamed of this? Even a powerful figure like the King of Gold could not escape the corrosion of time. P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 comments plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. Chapter 2342. There was only one way to completely destroy the Silver King, and that was to destroy the Drexten stone plate. All the power of the king came from it. Without a doubt, if this thing was destroyed, the king's power would disappear along with it, and so would the outsiders. However, the price of doing so was too high, and the loss outweighed the gain. Although the power of the Silver King would disappear, the power of outsiders, including the cat, would also disappear. Chuanming Anna, who would become the Red King in the future, would also be doomed. But then again, this thing is already in my hands. Those people should restrain themselves. Dustless muttered to himself. Apart from the Silver King, there was also the Green King, Bai Shuilu, and the others. After witnessing his strength, even if they were still unwilling to give up on the Drexten stone plate, they would have to restrain their ambitions. In the Secret Base of the Green King, by Xue Lu, and the others. What should we do? The Drexten stone plate was stolen by Dushless. It's not realistic to expect him to give it to us. In the cold room, there were only a few people. The Green King, by Xue Lu, Kojio, Yushao Shensi, and a sloppy old man with a face full of stubble. He was also a king, the Grey King, Coiling Sky Rooster. No wonder the Green King, by Xue Lu, had said that even if the Silver King, the Red King, and the Blue King joined forces, he would not be afraid. He did have the right to be arrogant. His strength was not weaker than the Gold King, and he had the help of a king like the Grey King. Even allies like Yushao Shensi and Kojio were far stronger than Hatamiko, but they were still able to defeat Yubigu and the others. What's Dustless's attitude? By Xue Lu, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke, revealing his handsome face. I mean, will he suppress the power of the Drexten stone plate? We're not sure. Yushao Shensi and Kojio shook their heads. Only God knew why Dustless had stolen the Drexten stone plate. The Green King's goal was very simple. He wanted to release the power of the Drexten stone plate and use it to promote the evolution of humanity. Once the power of the stone plate was no longer suppressed, there would be a large number of outsiders. This way, human society would greatly improve. Frankly speaking, the Green King's purpose wasn't any evil plan. In fact, it could be seen that he had good foresight. However, the Golden King and the Silver King didn't think so. Both of them believed that once the power of the Drexten stone plate was released, it would inevitably lead to the birth of a large number of outsiders. For example, there would be more and more people like the cat. As a result, human society would inevitably face big problems and enter an unprecedented period of chaos. In short, their thoughts were not wrong. Each of them had their own reasons, and there was no right or wrong. The only difference was their standpoint. Looks like I need to test that guy. Bai Shuelio's eyes glinted as he said in a deep voice, if that guy doesn't suppress the power of the Drexten stone plate, it's fine to leave it in his hands. After all, my goal is to release the power of the Drexten stone plate. It doesn't matter who has it. However, if he suppresses it like the Golden King, then, at this point, his meaning was self-evident. It was the start of a war. Are we going to fight that monster? Hisashi Gojio's little face suddenly froze. He recalled the world-destroying perfect form Kansusunu. It was a power that could completely crush everything. In front of such a monster, kings and outsiders were just a joke. Are you afraid? The Green King glanced at Hisashi Gojio indifferently. Afraid? Hisashi Gojio's little face twitched. If it was in the past, he would definitely say decisively that he would take Dustless's life. However, after being beaten up once and witnessing the world-destroying perfect form Kansusunu, he really didn't have the confidence. What about you? The Grey King, Coiling Boat Sky Rooster, looked at Yushao Shensi with interest. The latter was also silent, and her eyes were flickering. Obviously, she was also extremely afraid of Dustless. Looks like our opponent this time is an extremely difficult person to deal with. To be able to make you lose your confidence, I really want to meet such a person. Coiling Boat Sky Rooster's words were filled with curiosity, but his heart was also extremely suppressed. He knew the temperament of these two people very well. To be able to make them lose their fighting spirit, it was enough to show how terrifying Dustless was. No matter how depressed the people on the Green King's side were, Dustless's side remained calm. After the villa was destroyed, Dustless didn't find anyone to repair it. After all, with the ability of the Gate of Babylon, he didn't have much, but he had a lot of money. He was rich and capricious. You are really extravagant. On the blue beach, Anna and the cat were wearing swimsuits, while Dustless was wearing shorts and lying on the beach leisurely, basking in the sun. The sea area within a few hundred meters was deserted. There were only 3 people, including Dustless. Dustless directly took out a large amount of gold to buy this beach. This is nothing. If money can buy this planet, let me tell you, I have enough wealth to buy 10 Earths. Dustless waved his hand, his nostrils pointing to the sky, with an appearance of a nouveau riche, extremely arrogant. Keep bragging. Anna pouted. She didn't believe this at all. Even if all the money in the world was given to Dustless, it was impossible for him to buy 10 Earths. It's up to you to believe it or not. Dustless was too lazy to argue with Anna. He wore his sunglasses and continued to bask in the sun. It was very comfortable. Chapter 23:43. Blue sky and white clouds. Dustless enjoyed such a quiet life comfortably. His heart fell into an unprecedented calm state. His ears echoed only the laughter of the 2 women. It is really a rare relaxed time. As for the cat and Sinming Anna, they played with the water on the beach. Young people's thoughts are really different. Dustless lay peacefully. He didn't have as good energy as the cat and Sinming Anna, the vicissitudes of thousands of years. Dustless has seen through everything, now he just wants to have a comfortable rest. Ah! You guy! Suddenly, Sinming Anna screamed, her voice filled with endless fear. What's the situation? Dustless was also shocked by the scream. He opened his eyes and saw that Sinming Anna and the cat were playing too much. Her swimsuit was accidentally pulled off by the cat. Heh, aren't we very fast in taking action? The cat didn't feel ashamed at all. Instead, he looked proudly at the red-faced Sinming Anna with his nose up in the air, showing off that he was fast. You! Hearing this, Sinming Anna's face trembled with anger. At the same time, she stole a glance at Dustless, but found that he was looking at this scene with a playful face. She was even more embarrassed. Her face was red and her neck was thick. She couldn't wait to find a hole to hide in. She quickly covered the exposed spring in front of her chest. You wait for me. Sinming Anna glared at the cat fiercely and immediately ran to Dustless angrily. What did you see? Sinming Anna looked at Dustless, who was comfortably basking in the sun, and said coldly, Don't pretend to be dead, you just saw it, right? What are you talking about? Dustless simply pretended to be stupid. If he admitted it at this time, it would be a tragedy. He shrugged innocently and said, Anna, you are young, very smart, very beautiful. Wu Chen raised his thumb to praise her. He thought that by saying so, this girl would let him go, but he soon realized that his idea was wrong. You scoundrel! Sinming Anna reprimanded loudly. Perhaps in her heart, she already thought that Dustless had seen something he shouldn't have seen and even praised the place for being beautiful. He was simply too shameless. F***ck, sometimes, women are really idiots with muscles in their heads. Dustless almost spat out a mouthful of blood. How did he become a gangster? What's more, all I did was take a look at you, and it's an irresistible factor. What does that have to do with being a hooligan? Did I molest you? Then you'll be ugly. Dustless said like a hoodlum. He then turned around and pointed his butt at Sinming Anna. It was as if he was saying that he despised her. However, who would have thought that this would only make Anna even angrier? What did you say? Say it again if you have the guts. How dare you call me ugly? Although Anna's limbs were small, her strength was surprisingly great. She pulled Dustless over, her beautiful eyes filled with fire. King retard. No matter what, it's my fault. What else can I say? You're not happy to say that you're beautiful, but you're not happy to say that you're ugly. Dustless was furious and simply changed the topic. It was the cat who took off your swimsuit. Look at her smile. It's obvious that she did it on purpose. You should find trouble with her, right? That's true. Hearing this, Ming Anna couldn't help but pause and then nodded subconsciously. She then looked at Dustless in annoyance and warned, "I'll find trouble with you next time." Really, this is really an unexpected disaster. It's hard to even sleep. Looking at Ming Anna who left, Dustless's head turned black. It had nothing to do with him from the beginning to the end. He was inexplicably hated by her. Outrageous, too deceitful. Go ahead and make a scene. Dustless was too lazy to meddle in other people's business. After being disturbed by Ming Anna, he couldn't sleep. Kamui. Dustless's pupil power was activated, and the void in front of him suddenly distorted, swallowing Dustless's body. His whole person seemed to have evaporated into thin air. If he continued to stay here, he might be inexplicably dragged into this mess again. Inside the cold Kamui, Dustless landed on the ground. In front of him was a group of glowing stone plates with various patterns engraved on it. The stone was very old, as if it came from the distant ancient times. There was no doubt that this thing was the Drexten stone plate. No wonder the Golden King suppressed this thing. Dustless looked down at the Drexten stone plate. Using the Tensigen, he could easily see the internal structure of the Drexten stone plate. It stored a large amount of power, and if it erupted, it could affect the entire human race. After a little bit of the power of the Drexten stone plate is released, there will be more and more outsiders. Without a doubt, the current social order will also collapse. When a person has power, who will obey the law? After all, Dustless was a top monster who had lived for thousands of years. He understood the pros and cons of this. He himself was a living example. After having great power, why should he listen to others? Let's seal it temporarily. Bakudo's 99 restrictions. After a moment of silence, Dustless decisively set up a large number of enchantments, using his own powerful strength to suppress the Drexten stone plate. If the Golden King could do it, Dustless could do it easily. However, I underestimated this thing before. A mere stone plate hides the power to change the entire human race. In other words, it contains a large amount of energy. If this power is completely concentrated in a person's body, I'm afraid all the kings would be a joke. Dustless guessed. To a certain extent, this thing was a great tonic, but no one could swallow it. If they didn't do it well, they might explode. P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 comments plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. Chapter 2344. Forget it. If there's a big problem, it won't be worth it. Soon, Dustless gave up the greed in his heart and felt relieved. This kind of thing had a limited effect on his strength. After sealing Drexten's stone plate, Dustless withdrew from the interior of the Shinwei space. The cat and Anna that entered his sight made him dumbfounded. Dustless's mouth twitched. He saw Ming Anna and the cat rolling on the beach. The two of them were tearing each other's clothes. The swimsuits were all torn to pieces. Now, the two of them were naked. Didn't you leave? Why did you come out again? Dustless's sudden arrival shocked Ming Anna. She quickly covered the important parts of her body, her face flushed red. Dustless, Anna bullied me. The cat was much calmer. Perhaps it was because she was used to running naked. She looked at Dustless indifferently with tears in her eyes, telling him her grievances and Ming Anna's atrocities. I say. Can't you stop for a while? Moreover, your ability to lie is too good. Your face is not red and you're not out of breath. You're almost catching up to me. Dustless rolled his eyes. Just now, he saw the cat riding on Ming Anna's body and bullying her. Hee. Is that so? Hearing this, the extremely thick-skinned cat just blinked her cute big eyes. Her simple and honest expression was full of innocence. I must have been led astray, the cat suddenly said, making Dustless want to beat her up. What does it have to do with me? I was shot even when I was lying down. Put on your clothes. We're going out to do something. Dustless suddenly looked at Senming Anna. Didn't you always want to see the situation of Hadamiwa, Kusanagi Izumo, and the others? I happen to be free. I'll take you to see them. Really? Senming Anna was very excited. She instantly stood up and even her hands that were covering the important parts subconsciously loosened. You're so young, but you've developed quite well, Dustless said with a smile. It would have been better if he hadn't said anything. When this sentence fell into Senming Anna's ears, her pretty face turned even redder, as if blood could drip out. You were the one who let go, it has nothing to do with me. Dustless hurriedly tried to distance himself from her. This unreasonable and barbaric girl could pester him endlessly at any time. I will never forgive you. Sen Anna only snorted coldly. Since she had been seen naked, she didn't care anymore. She calmly ran back to her room to put on her new clothes. The distance wasn't very far. The villa was just by the sea. It was only a few dozen meters away. Fu Wuluo's base, Kusanagi Izumo's bar, used to be bustling with noise and excitement. However, it was no longer as lively as it used to be after the deaths of Totorio and Zhou Fangzuan. The once powerful Bark Wulo was now facing an embarrassing situation of disbandment. There were only a few people left, only Kusanagi Izumo, Hadamiko, and a few of Zhou Fangzuan's loyal followers. Almost everyone else had left. Sigh, in Kusanagi Izumo's bar, there was a sudden sigh of vicissitudes. Kusanagi Izumo was lying on the bar counter in a daze, looking at the scenery outside the window. His eyes were full of confusion, and he had lost his direction towards the future. What's there to sigh about? At least we're much better than our sworn enemies, those guys in blue. Hadamiko, who was lying on the sofa, said loudly with a mocking tone. It was more like she was trying to find joy in the midst of sorrow. However, this was also true. Since the arrest of the King of Blue, Zonta Rishi and the organization he led had become the target of everyone's hatred. Fujiwara Arobigu, Zonta Rishi, and even Tashima Shiri had fallen one after another. Their fates were even more miserable. Is this how you do business? I've been here for half a day, but no one entertains me. No wonder this bar is about to close down. Serves you right. This voice gloated, which immediately angered the bad-tempered Hadamiko. Which bastard is here? So it's you. Please come in. Hadamiko was furious. When she picked up the baseball bat and was about to hit the person, she suddenly saw Dustless's face changing as fast as flipping a book. She immediately put on a respectful look and smiled brightly like a chrysanthemum. This guy is really hopeless, Kusanagi Izumo looked at Hadamiko with disdain. The only person who could make him so afraid was Dustless. Please come in. Anna, you're here too. The moment they saw Anna, Hadamiko and Kusanagi Izumo were overjoyed. This little girl used to be the little princess of Barao Wulo, and everyone liked her very much. However, when Dustless promised to protect Anna, the two of them did not remain silent. After all, it was too difficult for them to protect Anna with their strength. At that time, the King of Blue even wanted to kill her, so Hadamiko and Kusanagi Izumo were unable to protect her at all. Everyone. Has everyone left? Looking at the empty bar, Senming Anna's eyes were a little moist. Her heart ached. Such a huge organization had disappeared just like that. I came here this time because I hope that you will leave too. The Barao Wulo organization. Let it disappear. Dustless suddenly said. No, a new king of red will be born. Hatamiko shook her head stubbornly. Maybe you won't be able to survive until that day. Haven't you noticed? You have been targeted by other clans. Dushless said flatly. Through the perception of observation hockey, a large number of people were lurking around, and 80% of them were King of Green's people. P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 evaluation votes plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. Chapter 23:45. Disband. Everyone in Bark Willow was stunned. Their eyes focused on Dushless. What did this mean? Did the survival of Bark Willow have anything to do with Dushless? That was too much of a busybody. Is this a threat? Kusanagi Izumo looked at Dushless with an unfriendly expression and subconsciously clenched his fist. Threat? Why do you think I'm threatening you? What a boring joke. Dushless couldn't help but sneer. I've killed the Golden King and the Black King. Do you have any value in being threatened by me? What I mean is that this clan has been targeted. You guys can't handle it at all. You're being targeted. Upon hearing this, Tsinming Anna looked at Dustless anxiously. Her beautiful pearl-like eyes glowed. The Golden King and the Black King have been disintegrated. Someone who has the ability to target Fu Wulua, that's right. It's the Green King's clan. Dustless nodded in agreement. At the same time, he explained, the Green King's strength is second only to the Golden King. He has a few subordinates who are all first-class experts. How can you guys resist? Just by relying on the few of you who have been defeated. You're digging your own grave. Chana, Kusanagi Izumo, and Hatamiko looked at each other blankly. Dustless's words put a lot of pressure on them. Even breathing felt more difficult than before. Even if Bark Willow was in perfect condition, and even if Zhou Fangzuan was alive, they probably wouldn't have a chance of winning against the Green King and Bai Shui. After all, the Green King was extremely powerful and couldn't be regarded with common sense. Although he wasn't as strong as the Golden King, he wasn't much weaker. With just the few of you, how can you protect Bark Willow? And to put it bluntly, even if a new Red King was born, with just the few of you, how can you protect this big family? Dream on. Dustless shook his head. He couldn't bear to discourage these people. Besides, apart from the Green King and Bai Shui, there was also the Grey King. Although their strength was average, a king was still a king. He wasn't someone that any Tom, Dick, or Harry could compete with. Other than disbanding, there's no other way. Tsinming Anna clenched her fists unwillingly. All this time, she still had a dream in her heart, to revive Willow, so that the color of Zhou Fangzuan would be passed down forever. That will depend on your choice. Dustless sat on the sofa and crossed his legs lazily. He said indifferently, if you think you can fight against the Green King, you can wait here in peace. But I think it won't be long before you all are killed. So, it's better to leave as soon as possible and go our separate ways. But then again, why is that guy targeting us? Hatamiko asked curiously. We don't seem to have any grudges with the Green King. It is indeed a little strange. Kusanagi Izumo was also puzzled. He frowned and said, I don't think you had any grudges with that guy before. Grudges? Dustless shook his head and explained, you are still too naive. Killing and being killed don't necessarily need a reason, it's meaningless. Just like Dustless's previous experience, Aizen Sosuke needed a large number of souls to create Wang Jian. He wanted to destroy the entire Kangzucho. Did those people have grudges with Aizen? No, Aizen just needed them. Perhaps the Green King wanted to destroy this group of shrimp soldiers and crab generals to intimidate the weak. It was the tragedy of an ant. Of course, there is another option. Wu Chen's sudden words awakened everyone's hope. He said plainly, "You can leave this city temporarily. It won't be too late to come back after the car accident is over. That's the only way." Kusanagi Izumo and Hatamiko looked at each other. Although they were unhappy, there was nothing they could do. Wolo was already destroyed. "But you said we were surrounded, how can we leave? Do you think I'm air?" Before Kusanagi Izumo could finish his nonsense, Dustless interrupted him and said quietly, "I am an exception. Whoever dares to block my way, I will destroy them. Golden King and Blue King are examples. This guy is really arrogant." Everyone couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. This was the benefit of being strong. The strong were the lords. "Let's go." Dustless didn't say much and started to leave. Hatamiko and Kusanagi Izumo looked at each other and decisively followed. No one would dare to cause trouble if they followed Dustless. Damn it, what is this guy trying to do? Yushao Shensi and Yujio Hizuna, who were observing in the dark, narrowed their eyes the moment they saw Dustless. The two of them followed Green King by Shuelyo's order to destroy the last remnants of Wolo, but who would have thought that Dustless would suddenly appear? Due to his unfathomable strength, the two of them fell silent. It wouldn't be too late to kill the remnants of Wolo after Dustless left. But now that this group of people had come out with Dustless, his intention was obvious. "These two people, I will protect them. Dustless, this guy is determined to go against us." Yushao Shensi's expression was extremely ugly. Looking at Dustless, who left openly, he really didn't have the courage to resist. "Let's call that person and ask." After a moment of silence, Yushao Shensi finally said helplessly. This kind of thing could only be decided by Shui Lu. The two of them didn't have the right to decide. "I understand." Yujio Hizuna nodded and immediately dialed the Green King's number, reporting the situation one by one. After a while, he was stunned when he received the Green King's order. "P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 comments plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates." After a few minutes of silence, the hidden members of the Green Clan started to panic. At this moment, the Green King, by Shui Lu, issued an order to attack through the network. It was worth mentioning that Dustless and the others had a bounty on them. As long as they killed Dustless and the others, they could become high-ranking officers of the clan and meet the Green King himself. As the saying goes, birds die in pursuit of food and men die in pursuit of wealth. After Bai Shui Lu stirred things up, the members of the Green Clan couldn't stay calm anymore. They all started to howl like crazy. "This is bad. We are surrounded. We can't leave." Tsinming Anna's delicate face turned pale. She looked up and saw a large number of Green Clan members coming from all directions. The main character didn't come out, but the clowns came one after another. "Are they cannon fodder?" Dustless muttered to himself. He glanced at the clowns and didn't see any officers of the Green Clan. They were probably tricked into coming here to be beaten up. "It seems that Bai Shui Lu wants to fight with me." Dustless lowered his head and muttered to himself. At the same time, a large number of Green Clan members suddenly attacked and surrounded Dustless and the others. The black mass was boundless, and the exaggerated number was like a pile of ants. "Keep going." Seeing that they stopped, Dustless said indifferently, "No matter how many insects and rats there are, the dragon soaring in the sky won't turn back for them. Stopping is even more ridiculous." Tsinming Anna and the others looked at each other in dismay. Then, they decisively followed Dustless's back. "Beat him to death." Seeing Dustless's arrogance, a group of members who were thirsty for points couldn't help but rush over. Boom, boom, boom. It was also at this moment that a majestic and vast aura erupted from Dustless's body and rushed into the depths of the sky. It swept across the vast horizon and soared into the clouds. Bang, bang, bang. The members of the Green Clan who were affected by this aura all fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth. The ground was filled with a black mass of people. Without exception, all of them were lying down. The members of the Green Clan were annihilated in an instant. You, what did you do? What trick is this? You didn't do anything. Sinming, Anna and the others opened their small mouths in surprise, and their jaws were about to dislocate. In their eyes, Dustless didn't do anything. Why did this group of people fall down inexplicably? If it weren't for the white foam at the mouth and the twitching of their bodies, they would really think that they were the extras invited by Dustless. Looking up, there was a huge dark abyss in the sky that was about to shatter the sky. This is Haoshiku Haki. Dustless said one more sentence and then left without turning his head. Yushao Shensi twitched as she watched. Even though she was extremely unhappy, she didn't dare to make a sound. The Green King was in a rage right now. Who would dare to provoke him? Are we still going to fight him? Hisashi Gojio looked at the Green King anxiously. The moment he finished his sentence, Bai Shuelio's eyes turned as sharp as a knife. Are you afraid? Bai Shuelu asked coldly. Hisashi Gojio's body trembled. Afraid? Why would I? I won't be that kind of person. If we fight him, I'll be the first to destroy him. Hisashi Gojio said vehemently. If he backed down now, he would have nowhere to cry if he was killed by the Green King. Don't be delusional. Things have already developed to this point. Even if we don't fight him, do you think Dustless will let us go? The Green King warned Bai Shuelu coldly. This was like splashing water. Although it didn't hit Dustless, it was enough to disgust him. The possibility of starting over was zero. But we're not his match. Yushao Shensi said with a bitter look on his face. Suddenly, he recalled the scene of his junior brother Galang being crushed by Susanoo, and his body suddenly trembled. This was just Dustless's strength. He was already invincible. Perhaps he still had a lot of trump cards that he hadn't revealed yet. Don't worry. Soon, I will personally take action. No one will be able to stop my dream. The Green King suddenly opened his mouth. His voice was filled with confidence. There was no exception. Anyone who tried to stop him would die. That was all. That's for the best. Only the king can deal with that kind of unfathomable guy. Hisashi Gojio and Yushao Shensi looked at each other. If even the Green King couldn't deal with Bai Shuelu, they should learn from Yushao Shensi and leave the city. When will we take action? Yushao Shenzi's eyes shone with a resplendent light. He couldn't wait to wash away his shame. Being killed by Wu Qin was simply too humiliating. This time, we must make that guy suffer. Beat him until he cries. Hisashi Gojio roared excitedly. On the contrary, the Grey King, coiling boat Sky Pheasant, was much colder. He only glanced at Bai Shuelu and didn't say anything. P.S. 3,000 flowers plus updates, 3,000 rewards plus updates, 1,000 comments plus updates, 500 automatic subscriptions plus updates. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.